After months and months of waiting, it's finally here. Big Brother 25 has officially kicked off, and with it we have 17, maybe 18 new house guests? I have no idea. The producers are keeping us on our toes for this landmark season. Big Brother has broken free from their stereotypical and predictable casting choices by giving us a house filled with genuinely unique personalities and new archetypes that we have never seen on Big Brother before. We have our first Sikh house guest, the first woman over 60 to play, mother effing Cirie Fields from Survivor, and her son Jared. With so many new faces, it's only right that I go through each one and give my initial thoughts and impressions and predictions as a whole for the season. So strap in. This is looking like it's going to be a very good season of Big Brother.
And believe me when I say for this milestone season, Big Brother is holding nothing back. Welcome to Big Brother.
The first house guest that we'll talk about is Blue, and right off the bat, she comes across as very personable and very fun to be around. Her connections with Jag and Reilly already seem very strong. She seems like she will be a very entertaining house guest, and she gives off the vibe of being a very active player. Although she is one of the 4 recruits, I think not coming across as super game knowledgeable will actually be a benefit to her. I have high hopes for Blue right now, and she seems to be in a really good spot.
I don't mind a showmance or two, maybe even a love triangle to spice it up.
The antithesis to Blue, Red is an over-the-top, self-proclaimed chillbilly. I'm not sure how familiar Red is with the game, as he is also one of the 4 recruits and he was likely found on TikTok where he has a large following. He seems social, however, he is being left out of the key initial power structures, so I'm a bit hesitant on Red and I will need to see if he can solidify himself in a group before I get a good grasp on him.
I'm what you call a chillbilly. I'm like a cross between a hippie and a hillbilly.
The son of the Survivor legend herself, we have Jared. Jared has been by far the most active player in the first few days, and while he actually has done a really good job in some aspects, he's also kinda messy. For now, Jared is in a good spot and he will receive intel from both sides of the house, but I do wonder if his position will eventually be blown if it ever comes to light that Cirie is his mom. He has the tools, he has the pace, and he has his own mother in the house. So the question is, can he put it all together to make a solid run at things?
Staying out of a showmance is not gonna be easy for me, but I gotta stay focused on the goal, right?
Coming in next, we have a newlywed house guest, and that's Mecole. From the get-go, I had high hopes for Mecole. However, it does seem that she is being left out of the main power structures at this moment. It does seem that there are players that want to work with her, so I think it's a matter of if she can survive long enough to finally fall into a good place, whether it be with someone like Reilly or someone like Cirie. If given a chance, I think she will be a very dangerous player. Plus, did you see her running in those heels? She has contender potential in my eyes.
I came here to win $750,000, and that takes some balls.
After 25 seasons, Big Brother has cast their first hard of hearing contestant in Matt. I know it's early, but I do think that Matt is going to do very well in this game. He comes across as very friendly. I have no doubt that he's going to be wanted as an ally by many, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch to guess that he's going to do extremely well in the competitions. It doesn't seem like any disability is going to hold him back, as he claims his lip reading is at 100%, and I could definitely see Matt becoming the winner of Big Brother 25. He just needs to build on his connections a little bit more.
In-depth could be a big advantage on the show because I learned how to lip read.
One of the newer fans of Big Brother, we have Izzy. Izzy seems to be a bit of an erratic player. She's clearly intelligent, as she was instantly able to put 2 and 2 together and realize that Jared was Cirie's son. She seems to be very social so far and connecting with players in power. However, I do feel like she reveals too much information, and that's a very high risk, high reward way to play the game. She seems to be doing too much at this point, and that could make her seen as a liability to Cirie. I do find her style of gameplay to be very entertaining, but I feel like she'll be her own worst enemy if she keeps playing so fast.
Hey, New York City! Izzy's gonna be on Big Brother!
The first Sikh house guest to play Big Brother US, we have Jag. I am really excited to watch Jag play this game. He immediately came off as a very strong social individual, and he gives off the vibe as someone who you want to bring into your alliance. He's already formed very strong relationships with both Reilly and Blue, and he's set in motion a plan to form an 8-person Onion alliance with him in the best position. He clearly knows the game of Big Brother well, and I bet he's going to be sneakily good at the competitions too. Jack has the potential to be a very dangerous player in the house, and I think it will come down to how well he does at managing his threat level.
For $750,000, I think I can throw my morals out the window for a split second and stab someone in the back if I need to.
A breath of fresh air from what I would call the beautiful girl recruit, Reilly looks like she could actually be dangerous in the game of Big Brother. She won the first HOH and has used it to make strong game connections with many players in the house. The problem is that she wants to include literally every person that has talked game with her in her alliance, and if it's not managed correctly, it could turn into a Frenchie sort of thing. I think the biggest indicator on how Reilly is going to do in the game is how she pivots after her HOH reign is over. If she plays it cool and integrates well into the alliance that she's been working to build, then I think she'll do great. Otherwise, it's possible she's a target early on. I think Reilly is going to be one of the better physical players in the house, and I do see a lot of potential here as long as she can manage her threat level.
I can talk with my mouth closed. I'm gonna win Big Brother.
Luke is someone that I don't have the highest hopes on. At this point, he seems like Matt's +1, but I don't see Luke being active enough to actually be included in these core alliance structures. There are already talks about Luke possibly being a backdoor target, and I don't really see him surviving in that case. In order for him to succeed, he'll need to wipe off this week 1 perception of him and get to work on the players in power. But as of now, I don't see Luke making it too far into the season.
I try to stay fit by doing both weightlifting and yoga. Gotta stay fit, I've gotta eat well. I'm obsessed with it.
Up next, we have the oldest woman to ever play Big Brother, and that's Felicia. God, do I love Felicia. She looks like she's going to keep it real all season long, and with the addition of Cirie to the cast and seeing them instantly connect and align, it seems like Felicia is going to have a very powerful player going to bat for her. Although she is on the block week 1, I don't know if anyone is going to vote against her, and I could see her coasting through the game due to being overlooked by her fellow players. I'm excited to see how she plays, and I hope to see her make a deep run.
They may look at me as an older person, but they don't know what they're coming up on with Felicia.
Hisam seems like a genuinely great person. He's ripped, he's intelligent, and he came into the house with a very specific strategy laid out. Hisam was my preseason winner pick, however, I don't really see him as a power player at this moment. He hasn't been included in Reilly's plan, Cory has his sights set on him, and in general, I think Hisam needs to be a bit more personable and be a bit more active if he wants to survive and make a deep run at things. If he can win an HOH early on and have players coming to him to form alliances, I think he'll be in a much better position. But for now, that remains to be seen.
I think it's about time that someone who's older, looks like a strong competitor, is in the house.
Up next, we have Cory. Oh, Cory. There is nobody that I was more excited to see play Big Brother than Cory, mostly because his brother Zach is incredibly funny on Twitter, and he showed similar traits in his interviews. Cory found himself in hot water right off the bat and looked like he was going to be the house target. However, he did a really good job persuading Reilly to switch things up and remove him from the block, which was actually quite impressive. But he's not safe yet, and he still has a target on his back. There's plenty of people that don't trust Cory, Hisam is coming after him, and he's still on Cirie's hit list, which is a very dangerous place to be in. It's clear that Cory knows the game of Big Brother, but he needs to wiggle off the perception of him being a sneaky, dangerous gamer. I'm still on the edge about Cory's chances within the game, but I'm excited to see how he tries to push himself forward.
I have become known to be the best persuasive speaker to have ever graced this nation.
Bowie Jane is like nobody I have ever seen before. The Australian has the most wild history of professions, rivaling only the likes of Debbie Warner, so I'm sure she's got enough life experiences and skill to handle the Big Brother house. Her bubbly personality is endearing to the other house guests, however, I don't see her doing enough with these people, and because of it, she's being left out of the alliances. Now, there are players that are trying to work with her, and if she can be brought into a cozy alliance and not be viewed as a big threat, she could be a dark horse contender for the crown.
I'm absolutely able to keep up with the younger crowd. I would say I go harder, actually.
America is playing so under the radar that I still know very little about her, but that's not a bad thing. She's not putting a massive target on her back, but is still being sought after as an ally. She's an Ivy League graduate, a fan of Big Brother, and she looks to be athletic. I think she'll be solid at the comps, she's going to do great socially, and as long as she can make some key connections in the house, she'll be in a great position. I think America is going to be a true under-the-radar threat that people aren't going to see coming until it's too late.
I think just from first glance, people might underestimate me, but I'm a huge Big Brother super fan. It's a cutthroat game. You gotta be ruthless going into the house, and that's how I'm gonna win.
And now we have Cameron. Cameron did a good job of working his way into Reilly's power structure. However, I feel like a lot of people aren't vibing with him. Izzy wants Cameron gone, and the way that Cameron is talking about playing with intimidation tactics, it's possible that a large group of house guests turn against him very quickly if he gets any sort of power and lets it get to his head. At this moment, I don't necessarily see a clear path for him to the end, but it's only been a couple of days. Anything can change.
I have no problem stabbing someone in the back or lying straight to their face. It's part of the game.
Another one of the 4 recruits, Kirsten, came into the game with the strategy of wanting to be in the majority alliance and steamroll the rest of the house guest. However, things haven't really panned out that way for her. Kirsten was caught wheeling and dealing with too many people early on, and she became the consensus house target. The other house guests have found her to be an agent of chaos and an undesirable ally. However, not all hope is lost for her. It seems like the majority of the house does enjoy spending time with her, and if she can win the veto and get herself out of this week 1 hot seat, I could very well see her being pulled into one of the house alliances as a valuable number, and all it takes is 1 or 2 good weeks to wipe off that first initial impression. If she can survive this week, I think she'll make it further than others may expect.
I'm the baddie with brains. My strategy is going to be laying low. I don't want anybody to know that I'm more than a pretty face.
And here, we finally arrive at Cirie. Cirie, the inarguable best Survivor player to never win. Cirie, the winner of the first Traitors season. Cirie, the strategic sleuth on Snakes in the Grass. I actually don't know. I didn't watch that show. But anyways, Cirie Fields enters the Big Brother house as the 17th house guest with one of the beefiest resumes of anyone to step foot in the house. And like always, she is doing an incredible job. She knows exactly how to work these other players. She has begun forming her own faction inside the house, and she has her son in there with her who's integrating with the players she hasn't connected with yet. Anytime Cirie is talking to another house guest, it's a masterclass for us viewers on what an S-tier social game looks like. Cirie has the potential to run things inside the house, and given her ability to make ridiculous connections in a matter of minutes, I would not be surprised to see her steamroll the season and come out with the crown.
Let's go! Watch out, y'all. Watch your step. Oh my God.
Welcome back.
So, for those that want my unofficial power list ranking, this is how I have the players laid out in terms of how I think they will do at the game. The house guests that I consider to be the strong top contenders at this moment are Cirie, Jag, and Blue. On the next tier down, the players that I think have good potential at this moment are America, Matt, Jared, Reilly, Felicia, and possibly Izzy, although she may shoot herself in the foot. Going down a tier, the players that I think are on the fence of being in danger are Cory, Cameron, Mecole, Hisam, Bowie Jane, and Red. And lastly, the 2 players I see that are actually in the danger zone are Kirsten and Luke. And now, let's get into some of my predictions for the season. My preseason winner pick was Hisam, but my post-episode 1 winner pick switched to Cirie because, really, how could I not? The players that I think will be the comp piece of the season are Matt and Reilly, and let it be known that I wrote this part before I learned that Reilly became the first HOH. The player that I thought would be the first boot was always Cory, even before the season began. However, it looks like he may have saved himself by talking to Reilly, so good on you, Cory. The player that I predict will be the first juror is tough, but I'm gonna go with Bowie Jane. There's not much to base this on, but if things don't go particularly right for her, I could see her lasting a few rounds before being picked off, and she very well could land as the first juror. The player that I predict to be the losing finalist is also a really tricky one, because half of me wants to say Jared under the assumption that he makes it to the end with Cirie, but another part of me also wants to say America, because I feel like she could be in a good spot to make it far in the game, but depending on who she's against in the end, she could end up losing. So my answer is both of them. As for who I think is going to win America's favorite player, it's Cirie. There's no question about it, but that's the easy answer. So if I had to pick somebody else, I think either Blue or Felicia could definitely be popular enough to gain the votes for AFP. And now, my last prediction is for how I think this season is going to turn out. Is it going to be a good season? A bad season? An unwatchable season? Well, maybe I'm being too naive, or maybe I'm just being too chipper, but I wholeheartedly believe that this is going to be an amazing season of Big Brother. There's so many exciting moving parts going on, and between the Survivor crossovers, the familial ties, the incredibly unique cast, and the overarching season twist that actually has me hooked, I feel like we're in line to have a truly memorable and unconventional 100 days. Just don't quote me on this if things take a turn for the worse.
I'm on my way to Hollywood, baby!
And there we go. We are only 5 days into this season of Big Brother, so all of this assessment is based on apples and oranges. Everything I said here could become completely irrelevant in a week's time, but that's also what makes this so much fun. The entire game can flip completely on its head in an instant, and I'm excited to see how many times my jaw drops throughout this season. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I of course need to give that extra special shout out to all of my YouTube members and patrons who would assuredly be at the top of my list if they were ever cast on Big Brother. And, as always, here's a clip for you on your way out.
The guilt is overwhelming. How can I not feel guilty because I betrayed them? But if I have to make a choice, I'm always gonna choose my family.